Good afternoon and welcome to the Halcyon Podcast with your host, Lorne Risley. All the glamour here. Quick one. Arsene Wenger's going to sign a new contract. And 50,000 Arsenal fans immediately hung themselves. I just want to put this video up because recent video of mine has just done 166 views in 2 days. I've never seen a turnaround in videos like that. So, I'm going to try and capitalise on some of this YouTube on-the-nose shit. Halcyon isn't really built on that, but fuck it. I'm going to try and make some rain while some sunshine. I'm working on a bunch of other reviews at the moment, and the problem is that I can't churn them out as much as I would like because work and life and all the rest of that good jazz is getting in the way. Actually, I forgot to prelude myself. Got to introduce myself properly, I apologise. I am your PWT Heavyweight Champion of the World! Isn't that better? Anyway, what we're going to be talking about on this podcast is not going to be a particularly long one. Ching ching! I don't know if I'm allowed. Better not to risk it. Anyway, point being, Arsene Wenger is likely going to sign on for 2 more seasons. Now this means 2 immediate and critical things. Number 1, I'm out a tenner because I actually bet in one of my conversations with my friends that he would go. Not that I wanted him to necessarily, but because I felt that the writing was on the wall. There was just going to be too much pressure this time. But the FA Cup win seems to have generated a degree of goodwill to the manager that we've not seen in a long time. Basically because, hang on, come here. There you go. Hello. Money shot right there. It's one of those things where 2 things are going to immediately happen. Alexis Sanchez will not sign. He will not sign a new deal. So I think Arsenal fans better make their peace with the fact that possibly the best player we've had in 5 years, with the exception of Mesut Ozil, and the occasional form player like Ramsey was unstoppable a couple of years ago. Bellerin's coming into his own now. There's a couple of players who are worth keeping an eye on, but Alexis Sanchez, either they'll sell him this transfer window and make some money to be able to buy someone in who can at least go some way to replacing the tenacity of a player who has carried us at times, or, as the stubborn bastards that we are, we'll wind his contract down. Which if he's in the final year, you might as well just get rid of it. You might as well make some money while you can. But the second thing is that they need to make a decision now on whether or not they want to invest in the team or whether or not Wenger is going to come out with his usual spiel of, well, I think this team is good enough. Personally, I think you need to do 2 things. Number 1, you need to get Granit Xhaka working in the team. Granit Xhaka is a quality player, and I won't hear anyone say anything different. The problem is he has not really had a clean run of games to get in the team, and when he has, he's been somewhat out of place within the lineup, without a clearly defined role and without really understanding what he needs to do to be successful in the Premier League. He's been sent off tons of times. He can score goals, he can pass, he can dribble. Not pacey, but he's got enough legs on him to be able to get from box to box. But the problem is, like I said, he just doesn't sit in a team at the moment, and they need to figure that out because he is a quality player. And secondly, I feel the time has come to go for a striker. To be honest, I'm not that worried about our defensive lineup because it is what it is. It's hard to come across decent quality centre-backs and defenders these days that are going to be consistent. And the ones you do find, they don't grow on trees and they come at a premium. Strikers, on the other hand, there's plenty of decent ones about. Now, the thing I would say to most people, and I've heard this touted as a rumour, and I don't usually read too much into rumours, but to be perfectly honest, the idea of Manchester City swapping Sergio Aguero with Alexis Sanchez is one that genuinely excites me. Really, it puts me in the position of thinking that I'd go for that, and I'll tell you why. Because, quite frankly, Sanchez coming deeper and deeper in the season to try and receive the ball to be able to run at defenders was to his detriment. He was winding down his battery, he was nullifying the attacking threat that we had, which meant that whenever we did break or counter, there was none in the box to be able to capitalise on the opportunities. Aguero is, with the greatest respect, not the hardest working footballer in the world. He's got a bit of an engine, but he's got plenty of pace, plenty of power. His finishing ability is second to none. And to be perfectly honest, I think he's the only top quality striker that is available, potentially, and has the kind of quality that would surpass that of Olivier Giroud and even Sanchez when you play him in the middle. Coming back to the story at hand though, Wenger, I think it's a power play by the board and Wenger to let the fans know where their place in the scheme of things is, that they will not be dictated to, they will not be put in their place, they will not be given any kind of instruction, they will not be dictated to, and as much as the fans might not want to hear this, I think that's a good thing for football. As a club, I wholeheartedly support this decision. And there's a reason for that, because the fickleness of football has now bled into the fans, but the fans are now recycling that fickleness back into the clubs and into the media, who then, it's a self-regenerative cycle of, I think he's amazing. Well, I think he's amazing. Yeah, I think he's amazing. Well, actually, I'm not so sure. No, really? Neither am I now. I'm not so sure either. He's shit. Maybe he's coming back. I think he gets a worse rap than he deserves. I actually think he's pretty good. I actually think he's amazing. And so it goes on and on and on. How many times have we been around the windmill with Wayne Rooney, for instance? That guy has been pillared, has been put in categories of the worst player ever, the worst English player ever, a sorely lacking in potential or fulfillment of his potential, to he might be the greatest English player we've ever had. He might be the best English player of his generation. He might be the best Man United player of all time. And with that, I take a certain pinch of salt with a lot of the things that I read and hear. Now with Wenger, topic of discussion here, the man of the hour, the man with clearly the power, is this. Tactically, at least, he demonstrates the ability to be able to win in big games. I wish he had the players at his disposal throughout the majority of the season to be able to carry out the plan that he executes. But the problem is that he relies too heavily on players that he shouldn't now. I'm a fervent supporter of a lot of players in the team. There are two, however, who I would want sending on their way. Oxlade-Chamberlain is one player who I hope they do something with this window. I.e. send him out on loan and re-sign him if you want, but you need to send him out on loan to learn how to be a winger. I think that's what has to happen now. If you're not going to play him in central midfield, he needs to learn how to be a winger properly now. And if you're going to play him in central midfield, you need to decide what you're going to do with Santi Cazorla. Are you going to start relying on him again next season when he's potentially 33 years old? Or do you try and bring in Wilshere or Oxlade-Chamberlain, play them through the middle, teach them, drill them, and try and get them to Santi Cazorla's, maybe not passing level, because I think Cazorla's way too intelligent to be comparative to Oxlade-Chamberlain or even Wilshere. But Wilshere and Chamberlain have energy, they have youth, and they have the willingness to be able to drive the ball forward. So their dribbling ability can't be called into question. And they can take shots at goal. They've got the ability to be able to score goals. And the only other player that I think possibly should, weirdly enough, it's the other one, is Wilshere. I don't know if we can rely on him fitness-wise. He had a decent stint at Bournemouth before he had another injury. As far as a striker is concerned, if we don't sign a striker, then I'll be okay, because while he's not prolific, I love Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck gives us such a dimension. He's so passionate. I sound like I'm describing a boyfriend. Sorry. Point being is that he's the kind of player I like in the team, because he genuinely wants to do as much for the team as he possibly can. I like Olivier Giroud to an extent, but the thing with Giroud is he's just not consistent enough. And someone made a good point, which is that It might have even been Alan Shearer, and I don't want to give too much credit to that mofo. But anyway, point being is that with Ozil, with a lot of the chances that are created, he should be scoring 25 goals a season in the Premier League, and he's never done it. I'm not saying his stats are terrible, but man, with a top quality striker in our team, we would have won the majority. An extra goal in every one of the games that we lost, we'd have drawn. Most of them, anyway. And those points would have carried us into the top four. An extra point in the games that perhaps we drew, but we should have won because we just put so much pressure. But because of the way we were playing, i.e., we didn't have the width to be able to get the ball up to Giroud down the wings, and we didn't have the directness or the ability to play through the middle that would enable Sanchez to stay further up the pitch, to be able to receive the ball and be a threat rather than having to drop deeper and nullifying any ability to attack while we've got possession. On the counter, Sanchez makes perfect sense. On the counter, Sanchez he looks amazing. But in possession, which, let's be honest, Arsenal are supposed to be about, we're supposed to be possession-based team. You need a player that can be able to who you can utilise in that way. Goalkeeper, I don't think they should replace. Anybody checking Ospina will do for now until you can get someone really properly decent who becomes available. Hart, maybe. I don't know. It depends if you get rid of Ospina, then Hart would be a good sign, and otherwise I think it'd be a waste of money. I'd love Lacazette. Lacazette would be a great addition to the team, to be perfectly honest with you. But as far as Wenger is concerned, I know that there will be a tremendous amount of anger at the moment. And I know that people will probably be very disappointed and upset in the fact that he's left it this long, but you have to look at it within the context and the prism of football and the way that the owners and the club view their fans and the way that they want to be able to dictate the future of their own club rather than the fans dictating it to them. Which I can appreciate because, I'll be honest, being in the business of YouTube, for instance, is a tremendously difficult business, if you want to call it that. I'll read it here. I'm up to 5,848 views with 125 subscribers, having done this for nearly or just over a year. That's how much time, and I know I've done 113 videos, not including this one. It takes a tremendous degree of effort, time, and just passion to be able to get to where you are. And you do that by sticking to your principles, you do that by listening and taking into account what the opinion of the fans is versus what you want to do with your product, what helps you, what doesn't, and then building your fan base slowly but surely. Arsenal, for better or for worse, are a team that stick to their principles and they stick behind the players they believe in. They stick behind the principles that founded the club, i.e. austerity, being something that's taught them, right, well, we're not just going to pay whatever we want for a player. We're going to pay what's right for the player. We're going to pay what we think is fair for the player. And in an era where it's just throw money at it, and I don't care what anyone else says about, well, Arsenal don't spend enough money. We spend plenty of money. We spend enough money. It's other clubs that spend too much. Oh, well, you've got to pay a premium for the players. No. You have to pay a premium for players when you're stupid enough to set the precedent of spending £50 million for a guy who hadn't scored in 3 to 5 months prior. I'm talking about you now, Fernando Torres. You're the reason behind all this. And Andy Carroll, Liverpool. Liverpool are the real problems here, people. Blame Liverpool for football's problems. Anyway, point being, in a time where football fees are getting to ridiculous levels, Pogba was just short of the mark of £100 million, but the first £100 million player is coming. I guarantee it. And when that day happens, a dark, unassuming cloud over football will hang for the longest time until the bubble bursts, and suddenly there's no fucking money to subsidise any of these wages, any of these new stadiums, any of these new kit deals, because we've all lost faith with it. And the stupid mugs like myself who supported football even before it was the level it is now. I supported Arsenal before I even really realised how big football was. I get now that when I supported Arsenal, I couldn't have started at a better time. 7 or 8 years old, and we're just coming into the Wenger years. Man, it was a great time to be an Arsenal fan. And to be perfectly honest, the last 4 years have only been disappointing through the prism of Champions League football. Look at it domestically. Finished second last year, yet Leicester won, but I think everyone was happy about that. We've won 3 FA Cups in 4 years. That is not an achievement worth sneering at. It's like, oh, it's only the FA Cup. Fuck you, you try and win it 3 times in 4 years. Have you? No, because no one does that shit. Wenger's won it the most times out of anyone else. Arsenal have won it nearly as many, or more than anyone else. I can't remember the figure off the top of my head because it's not important to me. The fact that we won it this year is what is important. They gave the fans a moment to savour and salivate over and hope and pray that we can finish the season on a high. And that's what football's about. It's about those highs. And yes, we have these unimaginable lows of going out of the Champions League and losing in the Prem to teams we should never be losing to. But that's part of being a football fan. We're on an interesting journey, it's just people don't want to admit it. They say, oh, well, we're so bloody boring and bland, the same happens every season. And yes, I can't lie and say the frustration doesn't hit me at times as well. But god damn if it isn't a good time to be an Arsenal fan still. Because we're still managing to win the odd trophy, and it ain't the League Cup, which we're all honest with ourselves, is the real Mickey Mouse Cup. Don't lie to yourselves, United fans. You know it's true. You mocked Liverpool for years for it. We all mocked Liverpool for years for it. We mocked Spurs for winning it once in 20 years. It's the Mickey Mouse Cup. No one cares about it. Anyway, point being, it is what it is, Arsenal fans. Wenger has signed a 2-year deal, which means that presumably in the next 2 years, you will start to see the foundations of what will be the new Arsenal. A new manager being touted in, new players being brought in, a new system, new backing staff, new investors, and potentially a new look for the club itself. You're getting what you want. You will get the change that you yearn for, but it will be done in a subtle way and it will be done at the pace of the club, which at the end of the day is the best thing for us. We don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing, because look at how much... I don't want to be a Chelsea fan. I don't want to be winning the Premier League one season and then fighting relegation the next. That's shit. I don't want to be a Spurs fan either, constantly be told, don't worry, you'll get there next season. Oh, never mind. Come on, it's fine, you'll get there next. No, I ain't doing that neither. And I ain't being no Man United fan, I ain't being no Liverpool fan. Oh, well, we used to be great. Yeah, 5 years ago. It's been 5 years. Have you even been in the Champions League since? Yeah, actually we were. And how'd you do? Fell out of the group stages. Well then, you're in the same boat we are. The only difference is that we've been able to maintain through thick and thin. And that is an achievement that is so often derided by Arsenal fans. They don't get it. If you want to go and support another team, guess what? You live in a free fucking country. Go and support one of those teams if you want to. I'm an Arsenal fan through and through. And the fact that in this season, above all seasons, Arsenal fans, I heard this. And you know who you are if you're listening to this and you're watching this, and I say that I heard this. You get fans who actively hope we don't win games. Who actively hope, do you know what? I hope we don't win the FA Cup. Because then that means he stays. So you're not supporting the team. No, I'm supporting the team. No, you're not. If you're saying you don't want the team to win, then you might as well be sat in the opposing section wearing a blue shirt. For all I care, you should have been. Because if you were sitting there, then that victory, the FA Cup is not for you. You don't get to enjoy it, you don't get to savour that, in my opinion. And if you try to, and you try to go, well, you know, no, we includes the people that stick through people thin and thin. If the club decide the manager is good enough for the job, and I support that club, then I've got to support that decision. I might not be very happy with it, but that's what being a supporter is. Blindly following a club, unfortunately. It's everything I advocate against. I always advocate open your eyes and realising it. Now, the difference is I know this and I appreciate this. There's nothing I can do or say that's going to change the club and their mentality or whatever, because it's theirs. It's their toy. It's no different than any of you out there who are watching this right now, all banding together and saying, we want a new host for the Halcyon show. We think Lon's not taking it in the right direction, but it's got a great concept and philosophy and we want to see it be taken by someone else. Fuck you, it's my show. I built this show, I make it in my own image and I do it my way. And it's just the same at Arsene, with Arsenal and Arsene. With the greatest respects to all the fans, you can disagree with me as much as you like and I appreciate it. It's a free country, you can do whatever you like. But in a free country, when you can do what you like, you can take your ball and you can fuck off home if that's what you want to do. Arsenal and Arsene are intertwined now for the next 2 years, whether you like it or not. Now, time has come to do two things. Shut up and support the club, If you're not in the inner circle, you're not in the know. I don't want to hear what your management ideas are, what your ideas on tactics are, what your ideas on the politics behind the club are, what you think as a junior accountant that you think you can do as finance-wise. I don't give a fuck because you're not in the know. If you were in the know, you'd be helping running the club. So all these fucking idiots on Arsenal Fan TV or on posts or vlogs who are trying to tell the club how to do their business when looking across the way at other clubs who are failing and succeeding in their own right, but in different ways with philosophies that are in no way meaningful or relevant to us, get the fuck out of my face. If you're not one of those people and you're willing to wear the shirt with a bit of pride and grit your teeth in the times they don't, and yes, Spurs finished ahead of us this season, and yes, we crashed out of the Champions League 10-2 to Bayern Munich for like the 5th time, and yes, Man United might have finished ahead of us and they might be getting in the Champions League through the back door, and yes, City probably didn't deserve to finish as high as they did, and yes, Chelsea have more money than God pumped into them. But that's the nature of football, ladies and gentlemen. Thick and thin. And besides, half you Arsenal fans are England fans. I hope you've got 50 odd years of practice of being, oh my god, disappointment. Just practice that with Arsenal, you'll be fine. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about anything else in this podcast because the big thing was Wenger, and I'm cashing in on that Wenger money train as it lasts. I hope it lasts forever. I hope he signs again in 2 years' time. Alas. I may have gone on a bit of a rant there, and if you've managed to stick with me through that for the last 10 minutes I think I've been ranting for, I appreciate it, and I hope it didn't come across as divisive, but I'm just so frustrated more with the fans at this point who think they have the right to dictate to other people what they do with their product, their business, their time, their money. You don't get a say. If you don't want to invest anymore, you don't have to. That's the beauty of free will. Go support someone else. Yeah, but I want to support Arsenal. Well, then just do it. It's not a hard concept. And if you want to disagree with me about this, then dislike and unsubscribe and comment in the comment section about how much of an arsehole I am and see if I give a fuck, because, quite frankly, as PWT heavyweight champion, the opinions of those with a lesser intellect than mine mean less than nothing. Wait a minute, there was a famous line in Casablanca, a film I've never seen as a matter of fact, with one of the best put downs I've ever heard. What does it go? If an Arsenal fan starts shouting at me and says something along the lines of, "You really don't like us, do you?" And the response, "If I paid you any mind, I probably wouldn't." Oh! Do you know what? They were dropping one-liners back in the 1940s, my boy. Mic drop. Anyway, point being, leave your comments in the comments description. If you want to debate this point with me, then do it. Or better still, if you think you've got a better argument than me and you think you can shout louder than me, you think you've got a more well-rounded opinion, you think you can go off on a better tangent, you think you've got a better excuse as to why I'm full of shit, come on the show! I'm getting a second chair soon, it's going to go right here. Just out of camera shot, because I need to be the one on screen, because of course it is my show. And come and debate me on it. I'll happily debate any motherfucker. I had a Spurs fan in here yesterday debating with me like a motherfucker. Couldn't get the points I was trying to make, kept on accusing me of trying to change the subject to something else when I'm just trying to broaden this actually not even worth going into. He's a Spurs fan, so what does he know? Anyway, please like, share, subscribe, or dislike and unsubscribe if you are so inclined to do so. Please leave your comments in the comment description if you want to share any of your thoughts and opinions. I'll be happy to debate them with you, even if you disagree with me, and even if you've not taken my advice to do one if you're not going to agree with me. Do you know what? Leave your comments, I'll be happy to debate you. In the meantime, I have been your PWT World Heavyweight Champion. Be jealous. And I'll see you guys in the next Halcyon Podcast. Take care. Wenger forever!